My brother, you've been in the news for some other stuff. Your proclivities and who you want to mess with and all that other stuff is your damn business. We ain't got to get into all of that, but this is necessary. Zion Williamson went to the free throw line the other day en route while LeBron James had dropped 30 in 3 quarters and had completely dominated and looked in peak physical condition and looked like an absolute stud and superstar and marquee. Zion Williamson, who's more than 15 years younger, but 40 pounds heavier, went to the free throw line. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw a belly.
Baby.
Yeah, we're in here. We're live. It's Big Baby here. You already know we're rocking. Watching this little Stephen A. clip that I came across yesterday. He's talking about Zion Williamson, one of the biggest NBA players to come into the league. There's no pun intended on that. I'm coming in knight and shield, protecting Zion at all costs. He's wilding out right now, disrespecting this man on a personal level. You can't really shit on him when he is still balling. I mean, he's got to get the injuries under control, which may be directly impacted by his weight. But come on, like, this is crazy. He had a belly.
A belly. Like when he took a deep breath, his belly bounced. That kind of belly. I mean, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, damn.
What's up, Zion?
Oh, he's saying something like he'll stand behind this.
It better not you got your ass kicked, losing by 44 points playing semifinals. Did nothing to lead and galvanize your team. Did nothing to show the man-child that
made it to the semifinals, though. That's one thing you got to take in consideration. It doesn't just happen.
You are in the takeover.
It just happened on its own.
But you look like you showed up to the game having just ate a buffet.
And maybe he did.
Not something from the buffet. I said the buffet. Like you ate the damn table.
You feel what I'm saying? This is the thing. He's just going in on him. This is what makes it feel the dramatic pause for applause in between. I'm trying to figure out let me pull up Zion real quick. I'm gonna get back into this and I'm gonna find Zion stats.
It didn't surprise. I wasn't gonna touch on this.
Oh, okay.
Because I was embarrassed.
Yeah,
for him.
You weren't gonna touch on it, but you got a super duper strong opinion on it.
But then Sports Illustrated wrote about it, and the New Orleans Times-Picayune local newspaper wrote about it. So it's public information. He's fat.
Public information? Okay. That's interesting.
He looks fat. My brother, you've been in the news for some other stuff. Your proclivities and who you want to mess with and all that other stuff is your damn business.
And this is the crazy ass story that came out about Zion. This is my thing. This isn't even he's dragging Zion so bad here. He's dragging him so bad because he's bringing up old shit. That's months and months and months and months ago when he had a situation where the lady, I don't remember the porn star's name, but it's some porn star that came out and said she had a relationship with him and so on and so forth. I don't know, dude. I mean, look, he's performing. Just last night, he had 36 points. Let's see what his rebounds were because he didn't lead the team in rebounds. The fuck's your fat ass doing? Get down there, rebounds. I'm just playing. So yeah, he had 5 rebounds. That's not crazy, but still at the same time, yeah, he definitely contributed to the win, points. The fact they look like a better team this year, I think, has a lot to do with Zion being partially healthy. And whenever he has been playing, the team's been better. There's no doubt he makes the team better. So since you got him, he was a bigger dude. He was a bigger dude compared to most basketball players anyway. So when you went ahead and drafted him, I mean, it's kind of silly to think that you're going to get one. Why would you even want, like, his size is a lot of what makes him really a really unique challenge for a lot of players in the NBA. And there's players that we see right now. Jokic just won a championship. Like, really looked like it wasn't even difficult for him and has been playing at MVP level. And it's just been easy for him. Nobody would say that, he needs to be on ESPN's Body magazine next year. That's not happening. Yeah, dude, he looks like he should be over there fighting for fucking Ukraine or something. So, I think that the criticism of Zion as it pertains to how he looks, criticize the fact that he's not available, and then if you want to tie it into that, then that makes sense to me. But when he plays, he's overall a really good player. There's times last year where he looked like he might even make a push for MVP. Like Zion is a problem, has been a problem. Maybe his weight has also been a problem. I don't know. Like I said, take into consideration a lot of what makes him a unique challenge for players in the NBA is his unique size and unique build, unique physique. My biggest concern with Zion is literally just the health. If he could stay healthy while carrying that level of weight or physique or whatever, then I'm full on support of it. The Pelicans are a better team with him. When you drafted him, that was his X factor. What made him different? The fact he was busting shoes out. What do you think that was, man? Where do you think that power comes from? Look, at the same time, you have him, and then you had his other guy. Look, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? That's all I want to say. Nobody's perfect. This is Ja Morant. Ja Morant was drafted the same year as Zion. They're compared a lot. Great NBA player, has had some issues we've talked on here with, just waving his gun around and stuff like that. This is a court case that he's going to because he supposedly got in a little bit of a brawl with a 14-year-old. I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. But a child, minor. They were playing basketball, and I just thought this was just peachy.
And I'm assuming I'm guarding you, right?
They're gonna have him walk through. He's like, "Hell yeah, you're guarding me. Of course I start. I'll punch you in the face if I don't start with the ball."
Once you throw the ball to me, what should I do?
You should turn and look to make sure everybody's ready on the court.
Yeah.
For your teammates.
Nobody does that. I mean, especially your teammates. He was telling the truth there.
That's why it's called a check ball?
Yeah.
All right. Now, how close, how far?
And hold on, what is this ball that you have in your hands? Could you explain to me exactly what that ball is and what it could possibly be used for?
Yeah,
Court
probably
is so
another
funny.
step back, but in guarding distance, because once you give me the ball back, ball's in play. Some people play where once you check, I can start right then or I can pass it in.
In the court of law, let's settle this for once and for all. Let's put it to bed. How do we play pickup basketball? Ja Morant, let's hear it.
11. Once I play the ball back to you, is it live or do you have to pass to it?
Well, at 2-11, we pass it to a teammate in order for a ball.
Okay. All right, so you heard it here first. When you get that ball in the check, do not start running all around. You need to pass that bitch before you move your feet. Thank you, Ja.
So it's not live until after you pass it.
Yeah, so after I pass it.
Thank you for your service.
How do you normally bounce?
I don't know what he meant at 211. We do that, but
Pass,
probably this
pass,
place.
We can do it either way. Yeah, bounce pass or check pass.
Can you hit me one?
Oh my God, why is this guy acting like a child at the arena? Hey, Jade Spades, what's going on? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, this guy, they're doing just a quick little checkup in the courtroom here. This guy's like, can we just get to hit me back? Oh yeah. Hell yeah, that feels great. Ja Morant, I'm excited to see him back on the court. I think he's supposed to be back on the court this year and before playoffs. So playoffs, yeah, Grizzlies not necessarily, they're not in the best position for that, but if they do make it there, you never know. That could be an interesting, that could be a little bit of a spoiler. Let's see what else. I want to break it up a little bit because I'm going to get into football, but I just want to break that up just a tiny little bit here. And well, you didn't see that. Nobody saw that. Let's get into some political content here. So I have a couple of videos from Piers Morgan, who I rock with because he doesn't take people down when they watch his stuff mostly. Don't make me look crazy here. And then I'm also going to do a reaction to a video from the Young Turks. Both of these videos are going to, so the Young Turks video, from what I understand, is just the Young Turks breaking down, some events that have happened in Gaza, and where the Piers Morgan video All right. All right, we're back in here. Let me pull these videos real quick because I don't have them. Computer just shut off on its own. Fucking Illuminati. Fucking Israelis didn't want me to start talking about the real shit. That's fine. Let's go.
Welcome.
All right, there we go. Cool. All right. So yeah, this is Piers Morgan. There's going to be a conversation here between at least him and one person who's pro-Palestine. They're going to get into it. We'll break down the conversation. Appreciate y'all. Anybody that stuck with us there through whatever EMP got dropped on us from fucking the Israel elitists, but whatever. So long striker, like I said, it was just the computer shut off. I really couldn't tell you. We were full on vibing. Let's get into Piers.
Back to Uncensored. My next guest has been a GP with the NHS for 25 years, working as a mentor for recently qualified doctors at his surgery in Harrow, northwest London. Dr. Wahid Azif Shader has another less wholesome identity as leader of an Islamic extremist group, which was
Get your shit together, Piers. This is
recently caught
serious.
on camera calling for jihad and an anti-Israel demonstration.
What is the solution to liberate people in the concentration camps called Palestine?
Jihad!
What is the solution?
Dr. Shader, also known as Abdul Wahid, joins me now. Well, welcome to you. Thank you for coming in today.
Welcome to the second
You've
video.
come from your work as an NHS GP.
Yeah.
Let me first just ask you your reaction to the clip we just played. These are members of your organisation and they're allowed chants of jihad on the streets of London. Do you think that's acceptable?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. That demonstration was a very carefully planned demonstration where the placards, the banners, the speeches from the platform were calling for a military intervention of official armies of Muslim countries to rescue the people of Gaza, with a situation of a civilian population of 2 million who are being massacred and slaughtered. Anywhere else in the world, you would find it a completely straightforward thing for people calling for military intervention.
But they weren't chanting, we want military intervention. They were chanting jihad.
So
my question for you is simply, do you support the chanting of jihad?
the chanting of jihad by somebody there, unscripted.
Well, quite a few people there.
Actually, no. It's about 2 people.
So you would condemn that?
Of course, I wouldn't condemn that.
You wouldn't?
No, because jihad in that context is as they understood it, and they were chanting, is for the official armies of Muslim countries to enter and intervene.
Okay, real quick, I want to share this screen because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Wow. What is jihad? A struggle or fight against the enemies of Islam. So that's a pretty broad that's a pretty broad definition. The spirit, and I mean, you are talking about military intervention, so I mean, it's not to say that's not violent. Jihad is an Arabic word which literally means striving or struggling. All right, let's get back into it. I want to hold this up here. Get back on the screen.
We're in a situation now, Piers, where 1% of the population of Gaza has been killed in the space of 2 months. 1% of the children of Gaza have been killed. Anywhere else?
Are those the same? I'm confused by the numbers, but 1% is incredible. Yeah, that's insane.
So what, you yourself called for military intervention in Ukraine by NATO with probably less legal and moral cause than there is in Gaza. When we stand...
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Because
So you think that when Vladimir Putin illegally invaded Ukraine, the moral right of Ukrainians to respond is somehow equivalent to the moral right of people in Palestine after October the 7th to do the same? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the people of Ukraine have actually one of the most powerful armies in the region.
It doesn't change the fact they were illegally invaded, does it, Doctor?
The people of Gaza have nobody helping them.
Well, they do. They have Hamas. They have a
They
terror.
have nobody helping them.
Hang on. They have a terrorist organization.
It's interesting. Those people were calling for basically a religious war, like calling other Muslim nations. So that's kind of interesting to me, the distinction there, because there is like alliances in Ukraine, America supporting Ukraine and many other countries. There's alliances, but they're based off of, something different. So
They have nobody helping
They've
them.
got 30,000 terrorists
They have.
who committed on October the 7th
They
an
have
act of
lined up
unspeakable
against them.
terrorism.
They have lined up against them the murderous Israeli Defense Force. They have lined up against them the United States who this week, today in the Washington Post, it was said that the white phosphorus that's being used by the IDF is supplied by them. They have lined up against them the Britain and the EU. They have lined up against them the Arab rulers in the region who carry on their trade cooperations.
Listen, as I've made clear, Doctor, I think a lot of the response from Israel, particularly right now, I would deem to be testing everyone's sense of what is proportionate, right? There's no question. I do not subscribe to the view it's genocide. Well,
that is the understatement of the century.
Possibly, but I think they have a right to defend themselves against a terror group
and
who have gone on record in the last 2 weeks as saying they want to do what happened on October the 7th again and again.
Children of
I
Gaza.
understand. It's horrific. It's horrific.
It's beyond horrific.
Well, it's horrific,
because
right?
literally what we are watching on our phones, on our laptops, on our TVs is an extension of what's been happening since 1948.
But let me play you your reaction. All right, I understand. Let me play you after October the 7th. A few days later, you took part in a talk on YouTube, and you said this.
Brave Mujahideen, they gave the enemy a punch on the nose. All right, and it's a very welcome punch on the nose.
Jesus Christ.
How
I was just about to say it's contentious, but this is one of the more civil conversations I've seen. I don't know if it's going to stay civil after that. Was wild.
Can you categorize a terror attack in which 1,200 mostly innocent civilian people were brutally attacked, raped, tortured, beheaded, and murdered? How can you, a British NHS doctor or NHS doctor in Britain, how can you say that's a welcome punch on the nose?
Will you let me answer fully?
Yes.
I will be frank. I'll be as concise as I can be. But if you give me the courtesy of letting me answer fully.
Okay.
I will defend the right of the Palestinians to resist an occupation. When you look at that...
That's not resistance, that's terrorism.
When you look at what happened and the 7th of October, as if that is the day that everything started...
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that, but when people look at
Do you think what happened that day was a terrorist attack?
When people look...
Do you?
You know, the word terrorism has become so... politicized.
Actually, not really.
The word
you can
terrorism,
be deeply sympathetic to the plight of Palestinian civilians, which I am, by the way, and have expressed many times. What you can't do is be weaselly mouthed about what happened on October the 7th.
I asked you to let me finish.
That was a grotesque terror
I asked
attack.
you to finish.
Yeah, but you're equivocating about it being a terror attack.
I'm not equivocating, and I will explain why. Okay, the word terrorism, by the way, in India last month.
We're going to talk about India. Talk about what's happened
the word
here.
terrorism in India. People who supported the Australian cricket team have been arrested under terrorist offences. In the West Bank, people who are have been told, if you reveal what happened in the prisons, you will be arrested on terrorist charges.
Do you think what happened on October the 7th was a terror attack?
It's a
Did
resistance.
You say no?
It's a resistance.
Not a terror attack.
Piers, if, and it's
You're
if.
NHS GP.
If, I'm asking you to let me finish. If. Right, our Islamic standard in conflict, in warfare, our Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, you can't kill children, you can't kill women, you can't kill the elderly, you can't mutilate.
Hamas did all that.
If anybody did that,
What do you mean if?
I say if because...
They literally broadcast it on their own streaming platforms.
Well, I'll tell you what a lot of us saw.
Hamas broadcast it merrily to the world. And here's us doing these terrible things.
And what do
you mean if?
What many of us saw on that day were videos coming out showing people saying, we will not harm women, we will not harm children.
Do me a favour.
No, that's what...
Doctor.
I'm saying that. Resistance is a right in Islam. It's a right in international law. It's even a right that Churchill said in his History of the English-Speaking Peoples that he actually wrote in that book, it is a primary right of men to kill and die for the land they live in.
You literally read me a description of what people who follow Islam are not supposed to do.
Yeah.
And Hamas did all of those things. But your response is to say, well, hang on, I've seen videos of them saying, we don't want to do that stuff.
No, yes.
I find that...
Yeah, take a big sip of water, brother. He's kind of tripping. This guy over here to the right, he's wilding out a little bit. The whole if that happened and like, oh, well, all we saw was people saying, hey, let me see the camera real quick in the middle of this war zone. We would not hurt any women or children. I just want to be clear. If anybody's hearing anything, like it's not even coherent, in my opinion. So you know what you saw. And I think it's okay. That's one of the issues with these conversations. We can't even agree on I mean, yeah, even like things that we think we know happen. But either way, let's get back.
Pretty offensive, Doctor.
I find
We all know they did it because they boasted to the world with their own videos what they were doing.
I find it amazing
Those were jokes.
that respected journalists like yourself have seemed to have suspended their critical faculties.
No, I'm believing what Hamas wanted me to see.
Well, you're believing what you saw.
No, what Hamas themselves broadcast to the world because they wanted to take great glee.
Yeah, and this guy to the right is like suggesting as if there's like some reason not to trust that. I wonder if he thinks that that's some kind of like, propaganda bullshit. It's not even them that's saying that. I don't know, but you got to do. It's a real leap in logic.
What they've done. There's no ambiguity about it.
I asked you to let me finish, and I'm going to.
You've got to answer questions.
I will answer the question. Let's agree on a principle. If atrocities were committed, right, I will never condone them. Right, I will say that.
So do you condemn what happened on October the 7th?
But I'm going to ignore
If atrocities are committed, you know who's
What do you
responsible?
mean if? No, they were.
Who's responsible for it then?
So you don't condemn it?
Okay, who is responsible?
Well, the Jews brought it on themselves.
No, actually, I would say more than that. I would say the powers that believe that Israel should be a colony for themselves in the Middle East, they are the ones responsible.
Do you know what? I'm really struggling. I've got to be honest with you. I'm really struggling.
Do you not?
That a British National Health Service doctor of 25 years, a man who's supposed to be seeing patients all day, every day and putting them right, is incapable of saying what happened when it was literally broadcast to the world by a terror group. Nor do you think they're terrorists. You think it's resistance. You seem to want to go every way to justify it. You don't even believe what they showed us with their own technology. And I'm just curious. Do you think any of this is compatible with you being a doctor in the National Health Service?
You don't have to be a doctor.
Do your patients know that you believe these things?
You don't.
Damn, he's coming for his fucking livelihood right now. Did not expect that. That is an interesting turn. Never seen Pierce. And like I said, this isn't even really the most contentious conversation I've had. They're having the same kind of hangups that every time I see these conversations take place, this is what happens.
You have to be a doctor to care for the lives of 2 million people in Gaza. You don't have to be a doctor.
I'm concerned about whether your patients here in this country, where Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation.
And I've said,
whether listening to this interview, do these patients know your views?
I have said to you.
Do they know your views?
I don't talk to my patients about my views in a 10-minute consultation, do I? Nobody does that. It's just a foolish question, isn't it? That's a foolish question. Yeah. Nobody talks to.
Why do you use a different name?
I use my name.
Well, you don't. You have two names. One, the leader of the group.
Yeah. Abdul Wahid is a name that family, friends, and other people call me.
Right.
Actually, even some people.
But that's not the name you use at work.
So 2 names, bro. Come on.
Even some people at work. And Wahid Asif Shader is my legal name, which people use in other forums. That's not a very unusual thing.
In May 2023, a prominent...
No, I have to... No,
I'm going to ask you another question.
You did not give me the courtesy.
You know why? Because your answers were so outrageous.
You censor. That's your answer.
No.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
censor. The person doing the censoring is you.
No, you are censoring.
Who wants me to try and understand and believe that what Hamas showed us, boasted about, with their own technology, broadcasting it to the world, was not what we saw. That's called censorship.
Well,
that is actually the purest personification of censoring the truth I've ever encountered.
When you bring Mark Regev onto the show, and you question him, lightweight questioning, albeit lightweight questioning about the atrocities that have happened.
Well, you think it's lightweight? I actually ask him difficult questions.
Actually, you don't ask difficult questions. Yeah, you completely accept. You sit there and listen to the most.
Sheesh, they are just
ridiculous explanations.
Unlike you and your answers, you mean?
Well, you don't give me the chance to say.
No, I've heard your answers.
No, you didn't.
I have.
You didn't.
I have.
You didn't.
You don't. Well, let's do a little quick fire.
You're telling the answer.
Let's do a little quick fire recap. Do you think Hamas are a terror group?
I believe it's a resistance organisation.
Okay. Do you think what they did on October the 7th was a terror attack?
I believe that if civilians got killed on that day, it is appalling. It is appalling.
You're a doctor, man.
It is appalling.
You're a doctor in the NHS. What do you mean if?
He's using that if word hard.
1,200 people got massacred.
And 1% of the population.
I can share your concerns about what's happened.
If you can't even agree on that, then this conversation is never going to happen.
No, you don't.
Oh, no, I do.
No,
I do.
16 years. 16
I cannot
years
believe a doctor is saying the word
16.
If people got victims of atrocity. If. On October the 7th. How can you say that?
So what? You tell me this. What is a proportionate response to 16 years of
let's
living in a
focus-
cage?
No.
What is a proportionate
Not
response?
a terror attack.
What is
Not
it then?
a terror
So
attack.
if they just attacked IDF,
Yeah, I've asked many times, what is proportionate,
So do you
right?
accept that? So you're saying just to attack the IDF would have been acceptable?
I personally do not.
I'll be honest, this is a piece of the conversation that I've had a few times. I think that is a obvious, clear difference. If in a resistance or in a war, whatever you want to call it, you attack military targets, then of course that's different than attacking fucking civilians and sexually assaulting them, just crazy shit. So it's like, yeah, obviously it's different if you attack a military base.
Answer that.
I'm answering
Is
this.
just to
Let me
attack
answer
the
your
IDF
question.
acceptable?
I'm going to say this.
We might be able to agree.
I
We might be able to agree.
I think the strategy
No.
at the moment.
Can we answer
Let
that?
me answer the
If
question.
they had agreed-
Let me answer the question. Let me answer the
yes
question.
Yes or no? What if they had just attacked military targets? Acceptable.
My view of what they're doing is I don't think it's going to work. I don't think the IDF is going to eradicate Hamas. And if that is the mission statement,
agree on
and in the
that.
process,
We could agree
they
on that.
kill tens of thousands
We
of
could agree on
innocent
that.
men, women, and children, if they do that, I think they will radicalize an entire new generation and make it worse. That's my honest view of what I'm now witnessing. But let me come back to
that's why.
Hang on.
That's why when we talk about a military intervention,
Fine, it's
actually
what happened.
what we want.
But Doctor, what happened on October 7th wasn't a military intervention.
No. What
it was
we
a
want,
terror attack.
What we want as a military
and you don't even think it
intervention-
happened, do you?
What we want is a military intervention from Muslim armies to rescue a beleaguered people and replace an apartheid
Palestinian
system.
people have to be given the same human rights.
you do me the respect?
They have to be
Not
given.
cement-
No, I will interrupt you. It's not your show. You don't just talk forever.
Well,
right?
What's the point of asking?
I'm going to
on
tell you what I
and
think
even
about the
saying to
Palestinian
me-
plight, which I've talked about many times. You've obviously missed it. I think they should be given the same human rights as everybody else.
think that
and
for
particularly
75
the
years
same
they've been
rights of the
occupied?
Israelis. I think it's been a
Do you think-
75-year conflict with.
conflict.
Yes, a conflict. Yes, a conflict.
Where people have been driven out
Yes,
of
a
their homes.
conflict.
750,000
Yes,
people in
it's
the Nakba.
wrong. That was wrong.
Encroaching on
That
the
was
West
wrong.
Bank more and more and
That
more.
was wrong.
No,
So have been all the wars launched against Israel. That's been wrong. All of it is wrong. Right? The history shows this is a conflict riddled
things
with
didn't
wrongs on
start
both sides,
on the
right?
7th of October.
No, it
But
didn't.
you-
I never said it did.
Well, you seem to.
No,
the
you don't even think it happened
the
on October
whole
the 7th.
framing of
No,
your debate
you
here-
don't even think it happened.
I do think it happened.
Oh, you did
I
happen.
do
It
think
did happen.
It did
1,200
happen.
people were massacred, were
I
they?
think 1,200 people were killed.
Were they massacred?
Yeah, they were killed.
Right,
They
by
were killed.
terrorists.
They were killed by people who were resisting an occupation.
Bullshit.
And
they're terrorists.
Yeah, well, that's your view.
It is my view.
Yeah,
And by the way, it's the
and
view
so-
of any person who is not Israeli or Palestinian, right? Anyone can look at it and go,
I disagree with that. I
okay.
disagree with that. One man. Have you not heard
Let me-
the
I
adage?
wanna-
One man's terrorist is another man's freedom
Yeah.
fighter. Have you never heard
Again,
that?
bullshit.
Have you never heard that?
Let me just play. I want to just read you this. In May 2023, Luqman Makim, who's a prominent member of your organisation, called for an end to the secular order so that, quotes, the UK will no longer be able to pump its liberal filth, its LGBT filth, its feminist filth into the heart of the Muslim world. Do you agree with him?
I agree that the West is pumping secular democracy into the Muslim world. And
Doing LGBT filth?
I agree that actually what we want to see in the Muslim world is a system with an accountable government, right? An elected leader, upholding family values, right? We want to see an economic system where wealth is circulated.
Do you believe in equal rights for gay people?
I believe that actually the Islamic standard of law
After that quote, he just starts talking. Fucking
should be the standard of law in the country. And obviously, that's the standard I believe in.
And
I believe,
just to clarify, what is your view of homosexuality?
I believe homosexuality is a sin.
A sin, it's wrong. So when gay people come to your practice, do you treat them?
you try to kill him.
Why?
Because I treat all my patients with kindness and without
Do you tell them
discrimination.
you think what they do is a sin?
What an absurd thing to say.
Why wouldn't you
Why
be
would I
upfront about
say
that?
that? Why would I say that?
So why would you be upfront about? Could you imagine your doctor telling you that whatever you're doing is a sin? And
Because they don't come.
Why don't you try going back to your surgery tomorrow?
They don't come to me.
Why don't you go to surgery tomorrow and say, before we go any further to your patients,
What?
I want you to know what I think. I think that I agree with the guy who said
Do you-
that
do you
this
understand
country is full of LGBT filth, feminist
do you
filth.
understand-
I don't think Hamas are a terror group. I don't think what they did on October the 7th was a terror attack. And by the way, do you want me now to treat you?
Do you understand what
I don't understand any of that.
professional integrity is?
Oh, you
understand
think that's
that?
professional integrity?
No, I think professional integrity is treating the people I treat with respect and with kindness.
How do I know
and with
you do?
fairness. Well, they know I do.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
Do they know you
absolutely
think
they
they're
do.
filth?
I didn't say that they're filth.
You agreed with what he
I
said.
didn't agree with what he said.
You said, I agree.
No, I agree.
I can play the tape back if you like.
I agree with the fact that the Muslim world should have the Islamic system. Yeah, I didn't say I agree with it. I don't use words.
You
like
want
that
full
about
Sharia
people.
law for this country?
For this country, I'm working for, our group works for Islam, the restoration of Islam in the Muslim world.
What about here?
We work to uphold Islamic values in our personal life and in the Muslim
What about,
community.
do you want
and we
Sharia
actually
law
try-
here or not?
I would love, you know what?
You'd love it?
No, I tell you what. In this last 2 months, one of the strangest things has been where people here have been looking at the people in Gaza and they've been going and looking and reading the Quran. And they've been looking at it. And I'd invite you and your audience to do that.
Just to clarify.
I would do that. And
Just
they,
clarify,
and
you would
they
like
are
Sharia
not-
law here?
And they are not convinced by these
Doctor.
neocon
Would you like Sharia
Islamophobic
law here?
tropes and caricatures of Islam, are they?
Actually, I don't think...
People who...
All I've done is ask you straightforward questions.
Yeah.
You've revealed your beliefs in the answers. No. Yeah, you have. You may not even realise what you've done, but you have.
I believe in Islamic law, and I don't believe in the caricature that you try and present of Islam.
Would you like Sharia law in this country?
I would love to see you want Sharia law in this country.
I don't want Sharia law in this country.
I don't know if this guy's actually answered a single question. He'll answer with something after he asks the question, but it's almost never.
That's your wish.
But you would.
Yeah, but I
Would you?
I believe it's the best system.
So
I'm not working.
Would
to
you like
establish-
it in this country?
I'm not working.
Yes or
to
no?
say- I believe in Islamic.
Yes or no?
You know the Islamic civilization.
Yes or no?
Was the only
You'd be
civilization.
very quick to answer everything else. Yes or no?
The Islamic civilization was the only civilization that brought peace to the Middle East for Muslims, Jews, and Christians. I would love to see that system there. Wouldn't you like to see a system?
Who pays
Wouldn't
your
you like
salary?
Wouldn't you like to see a
Who
system
pays your salary?
where Muslims, Jews, and Christians would live
I don't
side
want
by
this
side
country to
in the
live
Middle
under
East?
Sharia law.
It's not talking about this. I'm talking about the Middle East.
No, but you suggested you wanted it to be under Sharia law here.
You suggested.
Do you or not?
You
Well, do you or not? What's funny?
What's funny is your approach of question.
Why?
Honestly.
Just answer the question.
Because you know why it's funny.
Yes or
about
no?
it.
You either do or you don't, right? I ask a question, the answer is yes or no. Why can't you say yes or no?
I believe in the Islamic system.
Would you like
will be
Sharia
the
law in this
only-
country?
I would love.
Yes or no?
I would love to see you want.
No, answer the question. Never mind what I want. What do you want?
I want to see the Islamic system re-established.
Would you
in
like
the Muslim
Sharia
world.
law in this country? Last time I'm going to
Well,
ask
if
you.
Sharia law, if Sharia law means upholding family values, means looking after the poor,
Means no gays,
looking
no
after the
feminists, i.e.
poor.
women who get above
That's
themselves,
your
right?
caricature. No, that's your
I know what Sharia law wants for women.
Why do so many women become Muslim these days? Why do
Because they
so
want to
many
be
women in the
oppressed.
West?
Is that what you're going to tell me?
No. Why do so many?
Because they want to be oppressed.
Women in the world become Muslim these days.
You tell me.
Well, you better ask them.
Well, why don't you tell me what you think?
Well, they seem to find it something that attracts them, Islam.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Many women in the West become Muslim, and for some reason, they seem to like the fact that
Do you
Islam.
work with women doctors?
Yes, I do. And
How do they feel about your views on this?
I keep a very strict professional line between my.
Do they
life
know
and
what
my
your views are?
politics.
When they watch this, they're going
Some
to
of
be
them-
surprised.
Some of them will know. Some of them will not
Yeah.
know. Some of them will know. Some of them will not know.
Okay. Doctor, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Some of them are also secret agents. Damn. Very, very wild. Yeah, that guy, I feel like he didn't really answer any questions. It did get, it devolved as it usually does with those conversations. So I know the Young Turks video is not, there's nobody on there really offering a counter perspective. Which obviously usually I would enjoy that. But in the case of this conversation, like I said, it's like 20 minutes of, did this happen? Are they terrorists? Are they terrorists? Nobody wants to even give an inch, like literally to like, so it's really discouraging when you think about people who are even closer related to it. Like, how do you ever find any level of peace in this scenario where it's like people who are either talking heads or directly impacted, indirectly impacted? Like, I really haven't seen a single civil conversation really on that where it doesn't at least at some point devolve. Like, even that conversation with Pierce at the beginning, it wasn't really going anywhere. It was, you ask me a question, now I answer your question with a question where we go around in circles, and I ask you to define whatever the fuck and what this is to you, because we can't even start the conversation from a standpoint of, we all, at least we can accept a few of these things as facts. Like that guy's like, if innocent people were killed on October 7th, like, come on, dude. Like, how are we even supposed to have a conversation if that's not even something that we can agree upon? So
flag now flies high in the center of Gaza City.
So this is TYT. Like I said, I'm not really exactly sure what they're going to be talking about aside from the conflict in general, but you have the Israeli flag there.
Overlooking a desolate, apocalyptic landscape. This is one of the most intense assaults on a population the world has ever seen. And it's not over yet.
More than 18,000 Gazans have died and thousands more are missing, buried under the rubble. Others are severely injured and are unable to get the health care they need as hospitals are unable to function due to a lack of fuel and due to repeated aerial bombardments by the Israeli Defense Forces.
And they told everybody to go home from the hospital.
Now, with that said, the United States decided to be the sole country in the United Nations to basically veto a resolution that called for a ceasefire. Now, the Security Council vote on the resolution backed by Arab states had 13 in favor and 1, the United States, against, while the United Kingdom abstained. US Deputy Representative to the UN, Robert Wood, said the resolution was rushed and ignored US diplomatic efforts to get more aid into Gaza and free hostages taken by Hamas militants in the October 7th attack.
Let's stop people from getting killed first. I think that's probably where we're at.
On Israel. Now, what he left out of that ridiculous argument was the absolute terror that civilians have been living with in Gaza as the IDF bombs not only the northern region of the Gaza Strip, but also the south. There is literally nowhere for anyone to go for them to be safe from these bombardments, from these bombings. Robert Wood also said that the resolution's authors declined to condemn Hamas's October 7th attack that killed 1,200 people, including women, children, and the elderly. Now, something I wouldn't have expected, but here we are.
So part of this agreement for a ceasefire, these Arab nations had to, this is basically where these people were having the Piers Morgan argument.
Senator Bernie Sanders, one of the top progressives in Congress, opposes a ceasefire. During an interview over the weekend on CBS News, he said the following: in terms of a permanent ceasefire, I don't know how you can have a permanent ceasefire when Hamas, who has said before October 7th and after September 7th, that they want to destroy Israel, they want a permanent war. I don't know how you have a permanent ceasefire with an attitude like that. Now, a ceasefire would protect the journalists, humanitarian aid workers, and doctors who have been, slaughtered by Israeli airstrikes, but no consideration for them. Because God forbid we actually consider the ratio of civilians that are getting killed versus alleged Hamas militants that the IDF is claiming that they're going after.
Okay, so I believe that Bernie's in favor of the ceasefire resolution. He's just saying that he doesn't want a permanent ceasefire because how can you negotiate when Hamas wants to kill all the Jews? Well, how do you negotiate when Israel won't end the occupation for 56 years? So it's the number one problem is the occupation. And Bernie, to be fair, is on the right side of that. He doesn't want the occupation, he wants a two-state solution, etc. But everybody's in America's favorite sport is ignoring the fact that these people have been kept in an open air prison for over 50 years now. So imagine, just reverse the roles. And I know people get like really touchy when it's the same exact fact pattern, but you reverse the ethnicities. So if Jewish people had been kept in open air prisons for 56 years, would we all be like, how dare you fight back? You shouldn't love the Germans. You should love the Palestinians. You should love whoever it is. Oh, so what? They're keeping you in a ghetto and you have no rights and you have no country and you have no existence. Shut up and take it and love your occupier. And oh, by the way, if you fight back, it's your fault. Can you imagine?
All right, so Cenk here is running for president. Something about him just irks me. This feels so. It feels so performative whenever I hear him talk about most shit, to be honest. But yeah, especially this issue, he gets so just animated and, like I said, performative. Please watch this.
Imagine that would be horrific if anyone did that to the Jews. It's also horrific when you do it to the Palestinians. These are super simple concepts.
So, Cenk, I've been seeing some pushback against the notion that Gazans had been living in an open air prison. Now, I know what you're referring to when you describe it that way, but I think it's worth revisiting why people describe the conditions in Gaza that way, because there's this video that's like floating around. I don't know when that video was shot. It shows beautiful scenes of Gaza. Oh, but Gaza's so beautiful. How could this be an open air prison? So talk about why it's referred to as an open air prison.
So first of all, they don't have their own sovereign state. That means they cannot make any decisions regarding foreign policy. And if they make any decisions domestically that Israel doesn't agree with, they can cut off the water, the power, the electricity. They could drop 2,000-pound bombs on them and kill 18,000 of their civilians with no recourse, nothing.
But I mean, Gazans can leave though, right? If
they cannot leave.
Oh,
they do not control their own borders. They do not control their own government.
Interesting.
They don't have any military. They are not a country. So again, we have the great irony of Israeli supporters going, "Oh my God, if the Palestinians had it their way, Israel wouldn't be a country." Well, but Israel is a country. Because of Israel, Palestine is not a country. But you're not worried about that at all because Palestinian lives don't matter, right? Be honest with yourself. You don't care about Palestinian lives at all. At all. Don't pretend that, oops, did I occupy them for 56 years? They can't control anything. And by the way, the minute that you disagree with Israel at all, or not even you, but someone else in the same area does something wrong, we're gonna come by, it doesn't matter if you're a dentist, a shopkeeper, or whatever you are, we're gonna strip you naked in the middle of the town. We're gonna gag your mouth and have you just wearing underwear, and then we're gonna take pictures of you and humiliate you in the whole world. Oh, by the way, that's after we kill your family.
Yeah.
But you see how it's your fault. So Bernie, I love you, brother. You're right about 90% of it, and I appreciate you. But please don't tell me about how, it's Hamas's fault, the Palestinians' fault for this problem being here in the first place, as we're gonna show you a little.
There's just like Cenk here, there's literally no accountability at all. It's all just pointing fingers. So yeah, I think that what Bernie Sanders was saying in that instance is like, for a long-term ceasefire, he probably would like to see like different leadership, things like that be put in place. I think, and also like his performative antics here with Cenk, I think that probably at least half of people are in support of Palestine over Israel, where there's a lot of people in powerful positions that may be choosing to ignore that or just taking a hard Israel support stance. But as far as like public opinion and things like that, I don't even think that it's not that nobody cares about you. It's not that nobody gives a fuck, all this kind of like shit that he's going.
A bit later in the program, Netanyahu has been trying to prop up Hamas. That's already horrible. So don't tell me, Hamas did something wrong. Well, then if that's the case, then it's Netanyahu's fault. And it's the Israeli government's fault that has allowed Hamas to fester instead of getting to a two-state solution. But more importantly, the reason they bolstered Hamas, according to reporting from the New York Times and almost every major paper in Israel, is because Netanyahu didn't want a two-state solution. So he thought Hamas continuing to create problems for Israel and the Palestinian authorities in the West Bank would be helpful for him politically. So it is literally Netanyahu and the Israeli government who does not want peace, does not want a two-state solution, and wants a permanent occupation. They are totally guilty.
I think it's important, when explosive claims like that are made, I think it's important to provide evidence for those claims. So I'm gonna do that right now because it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy.
Yeah, it does sound crazy. The guy you're on the fucking panel here with sounds insane.
For anyone to say that Benjamin Netanyahu would prop up Hamas. Let's go to graphic 10 here. So in March of 2019, Netanyahu told his Likud colleagues the following, and I'm gonna read his quote verbatim. Anyone who wants to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state has to support bolstering Hamas and transferring money to Hamas. This is part of our strategy to isolate the Palestinians in Gaza from the Palestinians in the West Bank. I didn't say it. We didn't make it up. We didn't even paraphrase. We read you his exact statement. So now the civilians who had been living in horrible conditions as a result of the Israeli government in the Gaza Strip now have to pay the consequences of what Hamas carried out on October 7th. And Hamas was propped up and funded by Benjamin Netanyahu.
This is a person though, specifically like pointing him out. Not that it's not important, but that's another thing where it's like most people agree with you on that. Like, so to act like most people don't agree with you is just dishonest. You know what I mean? You guys are on a soapbox. The fucking Cenk is literally arguing with there's nobody even there.
That's so convenient.
And specifically for the purpose
all right, I got my breath.
of making sure that there was no peace deal. So you'll also hear BS talking points about, we offered the Palestinians 6 different peace deals. It's all their fault for not taking it. By the way, here, let me come into your house, take 3/4 of your house, and then say, what, I gave you a quarter back. You didn't take the peace deal. It's totally your fault. That's why I had to keep the whole house, right? Absurd, point one. Point two is, well, are those same people gonna say, it's all the Israeli government's fault? Because here for 2 decades straight, they have had a concerted plan that even the Israeli papers confirm to make sure that the Palestinians could not get a peace deal. So aren't they just as guilty as Hamas? Well, oh my God, they killed 10 times as many civilians, but you can't say they're as guilty as Hamas.
People say it all the time.
You can't say that. We'll ban you. We'll cancel you if you're a university president. If someone is doing a theoretical chant,
people have gotten issues for supporting Hamas specifically, but not. I mean, at least not that I know of people comparing Israel to Hamas. I've seen that comparison 1,000 times. Is the Israeli government a terrorist organization? I've seen all these conversations. This is a fake opponent that he's arguing that.
Make sure your life is ruined, but kill 10 times as many Palestinians. Make sure there's never any peace. Oh, you're perfectly good. Hey, you're an ally. You're a democracy. Come on, get out of here. I mean, not anywhere near close.
Yep.
Now, with that said, I do think it's interesting to see how media has had no choice but to pivot to the reality of what's happening on the ground in Gaza. Jake Tapper, I think, is a prime example of that, because we're not just hearing about high civilian death tolls. We're also hearing about dozens of journalists getting slaughtered.
You just said like people weren't able to move freely and things like that. So that probably has a lot to do with why the reporting's been skewed, because we're not able to get true reporting from inside of Gaza. People that have gone in there's been people who have obviously died
as a result of Israel's aerial bombardments in the Gaza Strip. Let's watch.
The Committee to Protect Journalists says at least 63 journalists and members of the news media have been killed, 56 of them Palestinian, in this war, presumably mostly, if not entirely, by IDF strikes. Is that acceptable to you? You've made press freedom a hallmark of your term. How do you explain all these deaths of journalists? How do the Israelis explain it?
When it comes to instances where journalists have been killed, we want to make sure that that's investigated and we understand what's happened and there's accountability.
You know, there's been a lot of fear over a growing number of Americans who are starting to question liberalism, right?
Okay.
Human rights, everything that the American government purports to care about and want to protect. And the reason why they're second guessing it, if you ask me, is because the very values that fall under the umbrella of liberalism seem to be hollow, seem to be nothing more than cheap talk by those in power, by the elite. And that's what
I think that is a issue for like the lack of confidence in the Democratic Party, not necessarily liberalism. I have heard, like intellectual conversations about liberalism compared to say like a theistic society, something like that. But to her point, I don't necessarily attach it to. I'll say that the Democratic Party has lost a lot of support from people who are liberals because they haven't followed through on those ideas. I don't think that liberalism is failing in any way in that way.
You're seeing right there. I mean, you have Secretary of State Anthony Blinken pretending as though he has any concern for the dozens of journalists who have been slaughtered in the Gaza Strip. We're supposed to want to protect. That's what, I mean, it's a big part of liberalism, wanting to protect the press, wanting to protect freedom of speech. But we have a situation in which dozens upon dozens of journalists have been killed, and all you get from Anthony Blinken is, well, you know, we're concerned about that. We're going to investigate it. Are you?
Oh yeah.
Are you?
They're working around the clock. They got people working in shifts on it. Okay, guys, here's more stats. Again, this is, I'm probably going to be called anti-Semitic for giving you numbers, okay? So Hamas killed 6 reporters on October 7th. Awful, horrific, terrible. Everybody agrees. What a bunch of no good terrorists, right? Israel has killed 63 reporters.
Nobody's applauding.
A bunch of suckers going around going, oh, I bet it was all collateral damage. I bet it was all an accident. Golly gee, the Israeli Defense Forces have the worst aim in the world. Hamas meant to kill the 6 reporters, but Israel didn't mean to kill any of the 63 reporters who were, by the way, coincidentally happened to be there to document the ethnic cleansing that is going on in Palestine now and in Gaza. Are you joking? I mean, when you make points like this, don't you get a little embarrassed, maybe even humiliated?
Yeah.
They're obviously killing them on purpose, and we're obviously not going to do anything about it. And
well, obviously killing them on purpose. I don't know if I would go that far in definitive, but I think that's worth looking into, and I think that's a fair point. I think most people who are rational in this conversation, yeah, they're going to look at that as like that's a fair point and a fair thing to look at. Just the civilian casualties in general is something that I think people have been pretty quick to condemn from the Israeli side. I mean, just from conversations I've had with normal people. Like I said, I get a lot of this if you're aiming it directly at the lack of resolution that we're seeing from, or lack of assistance on the resolution that you're seeing from like the United States and other countries. But you know, yeah, I think just his performative bullshit is just wearing me.
Why on purpose? I don't mean like, hey, I don't like that guy and that guy. They've done that in the past. That's right, with an American journalist, okay? But in this case, they're like, oh, there's journalists in the area. I don't care. Who cares? Just drop a 2,000-pound bomb. Kill, 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 kill. Oh, oops, it was all 18,000 people dead, all an accident. No one outside of the propaganda-filled heads inside Washington believes you guys. No one believes you.
Okay, so I want.
Most people want, and they started talking about Bibi Netanyahu earlier, but most people at the end of this conflict, it really, anybody I've heard speak about this publicly right now, it's people that are like, hey, right now we're not handling that. But I've even heard people say, but you know, something like a change is going to happen when we get to the end of all this. That to me kind of makes sense. But I do think the disproportionate violence, like that's just time to, you gotta dead that. It's gotta be over. They are 100% leveling Gaza, killing tens of thousands of people. Somebody, I don't know if it's on this video or the last video we watched, but 1% of their population is fucking insane.
I'm gonna move on to,
I think it's like 2% is completely devastating, like to how a society works. There's a number in war, like if you lose this amount, then it's going to have long-term effects on you know, restarting your normal non-war
to the casualties and others who have been killed, individuals who had just recently done press interviews about what they were experiencing in the Gaza Strip. So let's go to graphic 5 here, where the Israel Defense Forces struck more than 250 sites across Gaza and was fighting fiercely in Khan Yunis, the largest southern city, and in the northern neighborhoods of Jabalia and Shejaiya. And look, I mean, that makes it clear they're obviously doing aerial bombardments at every region of the Strip. There is nowhere to evacuate to for safety. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said that multiple health facilities and personnel were attacked across Gaza over the weekend, and that 3 medical workers were shot while trying to retrieve medical supplies for hospitals at health ministry warehouses. This is according to reporting from.
To think these people that are putting themselves in those positions and losing their life, like going into that crazy storm to try to make a difference for these people, just like you're just, whenever I hear some shit like that, your heart just has to weep for things like that. Like, yeah, that's rough to hear.
From the Washington Post. And also a 44-year-old Palestinian poet by the name of Rafat Al-Arir, was also killed by the IDF just weeks after he told CNN that he and his family have no choice but to remain in the north because they have nowhere to go. And here is one of his final interviews before he was killed.
We know that it's very bleak, it's very dark. There's no way out. If there's no water, there is no way out of Gaza. What should we do? Like drown? Like commit mass suicide? Is this what Israel wants? And we're not going to do that. And I was telling some friend the other day that I'm an academic. Probably the toughest thing I have at home is an expo marker. But if the Israelis invade, if they target us, charge at us, open door to door to massacre us, I'm going to use that marker, throw it at the Israeli soldiers.
He says, all I have is an expo marker. And he'll throw it at them. That's the only line of defense he has. Weeks later, on December 7th, Al-Arir was killed by a strike in northern Gaza. His friend and colleague, Jihad Absalim, confirmed to CNN he was staying with his brother, his sister, and her 4 children, who were all killed.
Okay, here's another question that everybody in Washington, the liars, the hypocrites, the guys funding genocide right now would find outrageous. So if Israel has a right to defend itself, and everyone agrees that they do the Palestinians have a right to defend themselves?
No, they don't apparently.
No, right? I mean, let's be honest, Washington. Everyone in Washington says that Israel has a right to defend itself by killing 10 times as many civilians as Hamas, the terrorist group. You see how they're not terrorists, even though they kill 10 times as many civilians, and we're just getting started. Now we're gonna tell you later in the show, they're looking to broaden the war, and they said move to the south, and as Anna just told you, they're bombing the hell out of the south. I mean, you're seeing the pictures, guys. Family members being picked out of the rubble, one body part at a time. The whole place is obliterated. We've never seen civilian casualties like this. The New York Times reporting, in 20 years in the war in Afghanistan, we killed less civilians than Israel killed in 2 months. And you're telling me they were all accidental killing of civilians? No, they're massacring the civilians. They're doing it right in front of all of our eyes, and America blocks any resolution that would stop them. Green light, green light. So look, I used to hate it when people would say like, oh, genocide Joe. I thought that sounds ugly, that's too far about Joe Biden. But if you're gonna send $14 billion to actively commit a genocide, well, what should we call you? So do the Palestinians have a right to defend themselves? Or are they the only people on earth who must submit to their own massacres? So and their own occupation. Do they have any rights as human beings? No, Washington says over and over again, Palestinians are not human, they will never be treated as human, and we will send more money today to go murder them. That's exactly what Congress is doing now. Oh, we're so concerned about hypothetical chants on college campus. Fire anyone who disagrees with Israel, okay? Because we're concerned.
Is that what they're doing? I wonder.
Concerned about genocide. Oh, by the way, next we'll be voting on genocide. And we will, almost all of us, vote yes to genocide and send your money. You worked so hard at your job. Are we gonna give your kids anything? Education, healthcare, anything? No. We're gonna take your money and we're gonna send it over to butcher those Palestinians. Don't spare me any BS about how you.
His campaign, talk to him about his delivery. It is shit. It is actually like he is hard
to care about human rights, how you care about genocide, how you care about protecting people as we continue to fund.
Thank Christ. So that's that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, overall, I think we agree. Like a ceasefire in general, I think is the move. People like there just needs to be some kind of work towards long-term resolution. I don't understand. Like right now, it does feel like we're just kind of, we're. It's so tough because it's like it doesn't seem like there's a end to the war that's already taken place. It doesn't seem like necessarily Israelis specifically are interested in any kind of into that. So when the people involved, it's easy for us to say like what obviously needs to happen, which is people need to stop being killed, and we need to come to a table because we're all going to continue to exist. So we need to come to a table and figure out what kind of resolution is agreeable, at least for the short term. I'm not saying that that's going to solve all of our problems and we could file this away after that. I'm definitely not saying that. I think there's a lot of work to do. And, but how we're going about it now, you're only creating more extremists in that area. People that just will have no other option in reality. Like, one will have all that hate in their heart, but then on top of that, like, what kind of opportunities are left when you level a city and people can't leave it? So, yeah, my heart goes out to anybody that's struggling in Gaza right now, in the West Bank and in Israel. But there has to be some kind of work made towards a temporary solution with in mind a long-term solution, for us to be able to build relationships past this. Like, there's no way to say that what the Israeli government has done isn't just disgusting and detestable. So there's also no way to say that what Hamas did on October 7th, there's no way to justify that either. So at this point, like I said, it's a time to come to a table on that and try to find some level of peace to be able to progress conversation past. All right, so one thing I want to do here before we hop up out of here, well, actually, I want to test this. So you know how Jubilee, they bullshit. Not Jubilee, but YouTube will take it down with the quickness. I wanted to try a different type of video. I'm curious if I'm going to have the same issue with it. I also have another Pierce Morgan video, but we'll probably get to that at another time. And then at the end, we're gonna roll up something special that I got. I want to start doing reviews at the end of these episodes of some kind of strain that I've come across in Florida that's special. In this case, very special. So I'm excited to show y'all. So let's go ahead and get into
nose job.
Ooh. Oh, doesn't she have the cutest little button you ever seen? Come on, what is that? Fucking.
I've had a nose job. I've had a nose job.
I've had a nose job.
I have had a nose job.
I've had a nose job.
Hey. Okay. Nose straighter than a linear equation.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Kara's nose was beautiful. Oh my God. Her nose was gorgeous, stunning, beautiful.
More for us.
Let's see it.
All right.
Think about the nose job thing.
Look into my eyes. Oh, okay, that was smart. That was smart. Damn, you know what? That's actually a good one for me.
Wow.
Come on,
Nick. Oh, real. Oh. Up close. Okay.
He had a little bit of a bump from having like something like not heal properly with your rhinoplasty. Let's go, Devin. Okay.
You know what? It might even be somebody might do something where they might have broke their. So it's not even on. They want you to think it's a superficial situation, but it might be something where somebody got hurt and had to do it.
Beautiful. Love it. Yeah. And for you. Gorgeous.
Wonderful. And then when Devin like did one of like the walks, I was like, I don't know, like she is like very pretty because like it's a uniform. All right, let's see what we got. What's going on?
Front view.
What's going on?
Side view.
That's strong.
No. And then the side view.
Oh yeah.
All right. I already know who it is. It's the last lady. I don't remember her name, but that nose was not yours. Devin, yeah, I'm voting him as well.
The fact that he was just so willingly able to just push it up definitely made me suspicious of him right away.
He was standing right next to me and I kept hearing him heavy breathing and I couldn't tell if it was like he just got a nose job and like he can't like breathe still or like he just has nasal like problems.
That hurt. That way it was hurt. It was painful.
When did everyone get their surgery? Like, let's just go down the line. Like, say the date you got it.
The day and the hour.
If they vote you out first round, it's because they're thinking that nose can't be real.
Well, like, I got mine December 18th, 2018, so that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I got mine June 19th, 2019. I got mine December 30th and this year. This year.
Like 2020.
Like 2023.
Okay.
I mean 2022.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I just get confused.
December
30th. Because then January 1st, I couldn't go out because I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's just the opposite. I think one of these people didn't.
Got
have
mine
full coverage.
January 14th of 2022, right after New Year's and the holidays.
September 30th, 2019, right before my semester.
How much did you guys pay since we all got like different states? I feel like it varies.
I know it's more expensive like in California.
Yeah, I went to multiple consultations and it was like one went from literally like $33,000 to literally like it went down to like $14,000, $15,000, and that's what we
Who
ended
was
up
charging
paying.
$14,000 in Beverly Hills?
Yep.
Oh.
Wait, you're gonna
Wait, I've never heard of that.
You're gonna be shocked at my price.
I paid. No, mine was only $12.5 because I got it in Boston and it was really good.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really
That's
cheap
so
there.
good.
Yeah.
Mine was 14.
Mine was 8K. I also got my septum and like all that other stuff that I needed to get fixed because I had like sleep apnea.
Mine was $18K, but I know he charges more now.
Ooh. Well, did you guys get closed or open?
Closed.
Yeah, mine was
I
closed.
got open.
I had zero idea what that meant. So why did you guys all get your surgery?
I got it 50% for aesthetics. I had a big hump, but I think the main.
All right, so I misunderstood this. Everybody has a nose job except one person. So now I'm locked in with the chick in the
The
middle.
reason I got it is my biological father just isn't a great person and I don't associate with him anymore. He's Italian and I just like had his nose. After I got the surgery in 2018, it was kind of like me like cutting the cord and just being like, okay, like I'm no longer his daughter, like I'm my own person, you know? So it was really like freeing and it looked better too, so.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't want to say she made it up, but it just seemed like if I do something for myself, it's for myself, not because I'm doing it for that other person, especially in a situation like that.
I got mine because like my sister has a perfect nose, and it's kind of funny you said that. Like I feel like I got my dad's and she got my mom's, so I was like, absolutely not. Like, how do you have that and I have this? And it was like pretty common. Like I knew a couple people who had it, so it wasn't like something major to be done.
Yeah. In middle school, like just growing up, like people always had really negative comments, and I like just felt so bad about myself, and I never showed my face in photos because I'm like 17, I'm in high school and everything.
So you were bullied into getting one?
Well, I feel, yeah, I guess. And I just felt like really awful about myself. And I know like I never was gonna feel like really that good about myself until I got this one thing fixed about myself.
What did her nose look like before?
And even though I'm so young, like I know that it will benefit my future.
I don't think you needed it because I can't imagine you not looking good.
Thank you.
look so good.
Thank you.
I'm Lebanese and I just naturally have a larger nose. I wanted to look more like my brother's nose because he had like the perfect nose in the family. I was like, well, if his looks like that, nobody's gonna like think twice and be like, oh, well, he got his done too. But yeah, I just wanted to get it done.
What's that smell? You think you sniffed out the mole?
Yeah, if you guys actually have a mole this time, you bastards. A lot of times I've watched this and then they at the end they're like, everybody's a mole.
About his nose when he pushed it up. I think you can sometimes do that with silicone, but he like really went up there.
Bye. What the how I felt about the guys getting voted out first, I kind of saw that coming. But in this day and age, it's like super common now. You can never really guess who has or hasn't.
Please raise your hand if you want to continue the game.
Wait, so did everyone say they got closed?
I got open.
Yeah, I got open.
Oh, you got open? Do you
Yeah.
guys have any scars or do you keloid? Because I keloid like really, really easily.
No, mine's on the inside. I feel like my recovery wasn't that bad, like to be honest.
I think closed is faster because open requires more.
Yeah,
So-
mine was open because I had so much work done to it, and like the whole bottom was all droopy, and then it just got brought up, so this whole part was like fixed, like under
I
here.
have, like, no scar.
Yeah, I try to cover up as much as I can, and then this part it was super like wide, so they completely broke this like bridge and like completely.
So like,
I.
Oh my!
All the time if I've had one, and I'm like, this is natural.
Well, okay, so this chick ended up being the one with the real nose, the Pinocchio. Wow. Who would have thought? I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down because we got taken down from YouTube. Typical bullshit. But I will holler at you guys next time on the next stream. Peace.